Hey guys, how's it going? Dylan here, and today I'm going to be showing you a quick video and a quick way to get a pretty good image using Maya nParticles and Arnold Renderer for Maya with some nice volumetric lighting. So, alright, so first things first, let's go here in Maya, let's go down to the nDynamics menu, go nParticles, and we'll create an emitter. So first let's set our time to like 500 frames, I reckon. So if we click shaded and click play at the moment, as you can see we get some particles just falling kind of thing. So we need to really fix that to get a cool effect. Alright, so first things first, go to the nucleus. We'll get rid of gravity. Alright, so if we go back and play right now, they just kind of expand. Under the particle shape, let's go shading and let's render as spheres. So if we click play now we got some cool looking, well, pretty simple looking spheres. Alright, yeah, if we play, let's select the spheres. Let's go up to fields. Let's grab a vortex. Maybe. Let's play now. As you can see, it's starting to. Let's up this to 15. So that should start to look kind of cool. Okay, now we're spinning. About 2 attenuation. Yeah. Alright, now let's also add in a turbulence field because they're pretty cool. Let's go 20. So now we got some really nice rendered movement already, even though we're only 2 minutes in. So I reckon probably about there. Alright, let's stop it about there. Let's get a camera angle kind of like the look of. Okay, now first let's change our renderer to Arnold Renderer. Okay, now if we first of all let's grab a point light here at the center, and first of all, save your scene, obviously. Particles. Let's just do that. And it'll reset your simulation, so let's go back up to a point where we want the view to be. Alrighty. I reckon, hang on, about there. Okay, let's take a render of this. Just bring it over. So that's what we're getting right now. It's pretty normal. Okay, so go into your render settings under Arnold Renderer. Let's go to environment. Let's grab a volume scattering one, which will select this in here. Let's go to like 0.8. Let's render that. Okay, now you can see we're getting kind of cool fog kind of effect. Alright. Now let's add a, well, first of all actually let's apply a material, a Arnold material to the particles. Let's grab render that. Okay, it's looking pretty cool. Let's add some spec to the mix. Specular. A little bit of shininess. Maybe a bit less shiny. Let's do 0.3, I reckon. Should be right. Okay, now let's go to outline here and grab the point light. Let's maybe color it. I really like orange, or yellow. Actually, that looks really good. Just there. Alright, now under Arnold. Let's up the exposure. Looks pretty cool. We'll put the radius to like 0.3, I reckon, just to soften up some of the rays. Perhaps a bit less than 0.3, 0.05. Yeah, that gives a bit of a... It's because we're getting some rays still. It's good. Okay. Now, what we want to check in under Arnold Renderer is under the ray depth. Let's bump this up to 2, or maybe 3. Take a render. So now we're getting some more bounce light. Alright, that's looking pretty cool. And now what we can do is let's add some motion blur to the mix. Down here, we'll enable motion blur. Let's put the motion range to 2. Let's take a render. So you're getting some really cool effects here. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want. Just there. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll render this out. Now it's a bit grainy at the moment, but what I'll do is I will up the AA, and so we will now render for fullness. Let's go change the let's just go 1920 by 1080, I reckon, and let's up this the AA sample. We don't need any refraction samples. Maybe 1 glossy, 2 diffuse, and let's put this up to like 6 AA, I reckon. So let's see what this looks like in terms of the motion blur smoothing out. That's looking fairly good. Very cool. Alright, so now let's just hit render and let that render out. Alright, so here is the final image just here. As you can see, it's looking quite cool, well, I think anyway. But you can always tweak the things. You can tweak the motion blur in the motion blur settings, etc. For instance, if I wanted to, if I just shove the res down again, just put this down to 2 again. For instance, we could play around with the lights. We could grab the light here and say in our IPR, we could, have a really bright light, which actually produces a really cool halo effect around some of the particles, or the spheres. Sorry. You can get some really interesting effects, and then you can always get rid of the light and use, well, that particular light, sorry, and we can use a environment sky shader, and we could tweak the material to be like a, for instance, let's invert this idea. No, I liked it full. Yeah, that looks really cool. Alright, so for instance, now we have all these red spheres now, and looking really quite cool. And you can play around with all the different vortex fields. For instance, we could add a we could play around with the turbulence field a lot with a higher frequency. And noise, introduce noise into the actual simulation. And then you can always also add the final step that I usually like to add sometimes. See, for instance, if I dull down the motion blur to back down to 0.5, and we and we re-render, so there's only a little bit of motion blur, but if we grab the position of the center, I've got it here, it's 11 units away, so if we select my camera, scroll down to Arnold, oops, and we can use the depth of field, say 11, or maybe just a bit closer, maybe 10. Aperture size, let's put as 0.5, and aperture blades 5.2 curvature, and let's take a little look at that. And that'll give me some really cool depth of field effects. Now, yeah, that's a bit much, so let's down 0.2 aperture size. So now what we're getting is this, and I'll do a quick render of that for you guys. To get, I'll only do it at that res, but I'll up the samples for you. Let's render that out. Alright, and there you go. That's looking really nice right there. So yeah, that's basically wraps up this really short tutorial. And thanks for watching. And as you can see, it creates some really nice abstract wallpapers with this technique. You can customize it crazy. You can add textures to the materials, basically anything you want. Alright, so that's pretty much it, and I'll see you guys next time.